Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of this Thursday's virtual wine tasting with Silicon Valley Wineries. We have a great guest this week. Super excited to have MJA Vineyards with us. Thank you all for tuning in. It's been a couple of weeks since we've gone live. There's been, some things going on in the mountains and some fires happening. So looks like things have gotten better. People are safe again, so I'm glad we're able to get this back up and running once more. And we're going to have John and Maren join us here soon, so looking forward to having them both join us. So they'll be joining us in just a moment. In the meantime, again, don't forget to tune in every Thursday as we do virtual wine tastings, just as we do here. And this week we'll be joined in, like I said, by MJA Vineyards. So super excited to have them on. Let's see if I can get them here to join us. As a reminder, Silicon Valley Wineries, we are around to help everybody kind of, understand what's happening in our backyard. We want to help build the education, build that knowledge, and really promote these great wineries that are around us. We have so many wineries between Gilroy to Milpitas to Saratoga to Los Gatos, Cupertino, and our role here is to really help build the education and get people to join and understand what these great wineries are doing in our own backyard, promote them, support local. It's been a lot of fun meeting some of these great new wineries. Looks like here they're trying to join, looking like they're having a hard time getting in. So if you guys, there should be a little thing on the bottom of the screen. It says request to join. If you click that, that will pop up. If you don't see it at this moment, you can log out and log back in, and then hopefully it pops back up here on the bottom of your screen when you join this session. Sometimes it doesn't show up, but it should be down there for you. A nice little banner here on the bottom says request to join. While they're getting that situated, I'll also mention anybody who has any wineries that they enjoy in the area that they want to see us help do some virtual wine tastings with them. I would love to hear from you. If you know them personally, reach out to them. Let them know that we're around, and we do these events. Again, they're for free. They're to help build awareness in our own backyard with some amazing different wineries around here. I love to learn more about these great wineries that we have. Love to have them speak and share their history, their story, what they are making, how they're making it. I think it's a fascinating process. And each winery is unique and different, doing things very much their own ways, not too similar. Not every winery is similar, so it's cool to kind of learn how each winery is doing this, their process. So again, if you know of any wineries that we haven't featured yet, reach out to us. Let us know who you'd want to see on here. You can also type it at the bottom of the screen here if we see the comments coming through. I'll be happy to add them to the list here as well. Anything else we have going on? So we're still, again, featuring about 80 different wineries from the area. A lot of them are still trying to open or are open. A lot of them have reservations only. Of course, almost all of them are doing orders and wine pickups and deliveries. So again, keep supporting the local wineries. Super important. Many of them are small family business owned. And they really appreciate any effort, any orders that you all can provide to them. It helps keep them afloat until they can fully open back to normal. I know a lot of them are waiting to do events. It's a big part of their revenue and what they do. So again, keep them in mind and support them as much as you can. And then for anything else that you guys have any interest that you want to hear from us, if you visit our website and there's some information that you're looking to capture We try to have things such as available for picnics, dog friendly, all these different unique characteristics that each winery is doing. Definitely, we're trying to promote each one of these and what is unique about them and help you plan your next wine tasting experience. So if you have anything that you think could be added to their site, or some things that could help make these wineries pop out and stand out more, again, we're all ears. You can go to our website. You can reach us through Facebook, through Instagram. I would love to hear from what you guys are doing and what you're seeing as well. Let's see if Maren and John here can join us. Give them some more time here. Not sure if they're having Instagram issues. There they are. They've sent the request, so they're able to.
Are we on now?
I think we are.
I can't hear anybody.
Oh, now it's muted.
We lost his voice.
What's
going on?
Oh. Let me try turning it on my computers.
Also, I wonder if it's the internet.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Can you hear us?
Hello. Maren and John, how are you guys?
Finally.
We had a few technical
Yes.
there with one of our phones, but apparently someone else's worked. So that seemed to have solved the problem.
No problem. And apparently my Bluetooth headset that's in the other room was also connected to my phone. So the past 7 minutes, I'm sure nobody could hear what I was saying.
Oh, no. Well, actually, we heard a couple. We heard what you were saying earlier. So
Oh, interesting.
yeah, we could hear
we
you.
could hear you, but we couldn't have you
connect.
hear us.
We
Yeah.
couldn't connect.
Oh, fascinating. I'm quite surprised. But hey, we're here. And Maren, John, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. I know we've been trying to get this going for the past few weeks. We've had some hiccups. We've had some obstacles. But we've persevered, and here we are today. And I think not only myself, but the listeners are super excited to learn more about you guys, how you got started, and what MJA Vineyards is all about. Says rumor has it, it's more than just wine.
I would say so. What about you, Frankie?
What do you think?
I think you're involved in more than just wine.
You think I am?
I think you might be.
Well, we actually, before the wine business, we started out in Hawaii as one of the larger producers of Kona coffee over on the west side of the Big Island in the Captain Cook area, and lived over there and started that company, Koa Coffee Plantation, in the mid-90s, and then sold the company in 2007, and then went up to Napa, up on Howell Mountain, and bought a vineyard and winery up there and started in the wine business. That was in 2007. But we kept a couple of coffee farms, so we still produce coffee on the Big Island. So
Oh, wow.
we roast coffee usually twice a week, and always in our two tasting rooms we have 100% Kona coffee available all the time. So, and then for a sidelight, I like to dig gold up in Oregon, and other than that, I do practically nothing. So, you know.
Well, you haven't strike it rich yet because you're still making wine, apparently.
Oh yeah, that's fresh right now. As limited as it is this year, unfortunately, because of the taint and the smoke, we're only a fraction of the grapes that we normally would be doing at this time of year. So we're struggling with cabs because our forte at MJA are Napa Cabernets, and we make about 15 Napa cabs. But this year, so many of our growers up there have taint in their grapes, we can't utilize them. So that'll be for next year. So
That's very unfortunate. But as we know, in viniculture, anything is possible. And you just have to roll with it.
Yeah, and those that are blessed with buying crop insurance, they're okay. But because once they have their grapes tested and they fail, and they at least can collect on it, it's the guys that don't that are really going to go bite the bullet this year. So
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. I don't get too deep on this, but it is a very pertinent topic right now. What are people doing to test for smoke taint? Because I'm sure it's probably a question people want to know. How do you know if a grape has smoke taint?
well, they're ETS labs, which have labs here and in Paso and whatever. They're overrun with with samples, and the poor guys are trying to get it out as quick as they can to give people answers. But what happens is basically the smoke penetrates the skin and then taints the wine. And in essence, the long and the short of it is, after you finish ML, the acidity runs crazy, and really the wine is undrinkable and unfixable. There's a few labs that are around that will actually try to fix the wine, but they've taken all the characteristics out of the wine and really don't have much left when you're all done with it. So,
Yeah.
The joy isn't worth the pain.
Yep.
Now,
We'll just have to chalk it up to
note for
2020.
you,
Yeah.
one of the few grapes, red grapes, that are basically bulletproof to the smoke is Petite Sirah. And
Really?
somehow, one of our growers has Sauv Blanc, Cab Sav, and Petite Sirah. When they tested the three grapes, the two Cab, the Cab and the Sauv Blanc failed, and the Petite Sirah had nothing. There was no penetration at all with taint into the grape itself. So interesting thing. I never knew that before. So.
Yeah, I wonder if that's just that one location, or if other people are experiencing the same thing.
I think that it's the grape itself.
Yeah.
It really is the thickness of the skin or whatever it is resistant to the smoke. So.
Yep. Well, again,
Might be
another question is,
Syrah this year.
yeah, how do you hybrid a grape to get that qualification or characteristic, and see if you can reduce smoke taint across other grapes because of that? So.
I got a better idea. Let's not have any more fires, and then we really don't have to worry about that. Why go through all the hybrid stuff? Let's just stop the fires.
Amen to that. I can't argue that one bit.
But
So
yeah, what else
let's
we
talk
doing?
about some of the stuff that you have produced in the past, because you have quite a selection there. I know I've been to your Summit location in the past a few times, and it's quite the catalog of wines you guys are making and producing. Tell us how you're doing that, and what are you producing, and very curious to learn more about that.
On my part, actually, because we make 55 wines because I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And one of our model from the get-go was we really don't distribute. So all of our wines are sold through our wine club. So it allowed us to make, smaller groups of batches of wine, 500 cases, 600 cases, rather than doing 4,000 or 5,000 cases if you're doing distribution. So it allowed us to make more different varietals, more different wines, and on a smaller basis, so that our wine club people had a lot of choices. We offer 5 different programs in our wine club choices, so you can kind of pick your spot for any kind of wine that you might be interested in. And I like wine, so I make a lot of them.
He's never heard of the paradox of choice, apparently.
I mean, you could have worse problems in life. I mean, making wine and making 55 of them is like, hey, at worst case scenario, you have a lifetime of wine to drink.
Hey, we got something for everybody. Let me assure you.
It's
That's
true.
another good way to put it as well. There you
And,
go.
and that's, we try, if you have 4 or 5 wines and that's all you have, which is pretty standard up in Napa, you either like it or you like cabs or this or that or whatever,
Yeah.
or you don't. But we're all Croatian, so we like the mid-style wines, the Sangiovese and Montepulciano and the Barberas and Primitivos and all of that, and Zinfandels, and so that's our kind of a heritage wine. So we brought those in along with our cabs and Sauv Blancs and our Chardonnays and all that stuff. So
Very cool. So between the 2 properties you guys have on a good year, how many cases you guys making?
I couldn't hear that.
He's asking how many cases do we make in a good year?
Well, we usually make probably every year somewhere between 6,000 and 10,000. So that's kind of right the mid range, and we try to bottle about 8 or 9,000 a year. So, MTA is known for longevity of wine. We take a lot of time. Our Cabernets are aged in French oak for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and 6 years. That
Wow.
translates into longevity of 20 to 30 years in a lay down. If you take care of that bottle of wine, it'll wait for you 30 years. Our Sauv Blancs are good for 10. Our Merlots are 15 to 20. Our Pinots are 12 to 15. Only because of our style. We're not in a hurry. So again, it's attacking the wine club position that we're in. We want our wine club members to really get a good quality wine with a lot of longevity. If they want to buy cases of it and store it for over periods of time, they don't have to worry about it going bad anytime soon. So
Got it. We have a question on here that came up that says, where do all the grapes come from?
Where do they come from, Mr. Marin?
Well, we are heavy in Napa and Alexander Valley, Mendocino, Knights Valley, then coming down this way all over Santa Cruz Mountains for our Chards and Pinots and Merlots, then down in South Monterey where I get my Zinfandels and Malbecs and Petit Syrah down there, then over in Amador and El Dorado where I get the Barberas and the Montepulcianos and those grapes, Hollister and Sangiovese and some of that group, pretty much Central Northern Cal. So
Yeah. I'm surprised you're able to find time for us during harvest season with all the different.
I was thinking,
Well,
I just got back from gold mining yesterday, so I could do the show with you today. So
Well, we appreciate that. Thank you so much.
happy to do it. Happy to
Excellent.
see you on the screen.
I do enjoy your sessions you guys do on your own as well. You do your own virtual wine tastings, and they're a joy to watch and never a dull moment.
the banter is pretty good, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We like to have fun. Junior's come a long way, so I gotta admit he's got a pretty good palate too. Doesn't know anything about cooking, but he's great with the wines.
Can't do both. Got to focus on one.
I got a girlfriend who's a foodie, so
I'm
what am I
the
gonna-
cook in our family, so yeah.
Wow, you're doing everything.
We had amazing cooks in my mother and father's side in the family. So I learned to cook really at 4 or 5 years of age, hanging around with my mom and watching. So food has always been high on my agenda. My waistline proves it. So
It's called an investment.
yeah, it is.
So were you born in Croatia, or were
No,
you
I'm
born?
born in LA. My
Okay.
mother is first generation LA. Dad came from the old country, left there in the mid-20s.
Okay.
And then came into Los Angeles. The Artukovich family built most of LA in the pipeline world. We built most of the infrastructure in LA and vicinity over the years. So yeah, we have a long history from down there.
Do you miss Hawaii at all?
No, we were there 20 years. I have dear friends and love to go back and visit and stuff, but that was a chapter, and you need to, we're in a new chapter, new cycle.
Gotcha.
Ask John that question.
I tell people it's a great place to vacation in. If you want to
Yeah.
go somewhere for 2 weeks, unwind from the modern world and having a great time, then Hawaii
Yep.
would be fine. If you want to live there for years on end, unless you're really passionate about some feature of the natural environment,
Yep.
Let's just put it this way: island fever is a real thing.
This is a young lad that had to live on a coffee farm for, pre-teen and teen years until he got to college and school and got over here. So, yeah, and most of the kids that grow up on coffee farms will tell you the same story. So, yeah, it's a little
Well,
boring, a lot of work, but a little
Yep.
more.
and now you have civilization again.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So,
Exactly.
and
Very
I
cool.
followed him over when he left. There was nothing holding me there, and a company came in from Colorado that wanted the coffee plantation, and we sold them the company, and that was the money that started the winery up in Napa. So, and the good news about Napa Valley is we learned to make wine correctly up there. We have a great winemaker, Robbie Lloyd, and then that used to be with Ron Bowery's. He's our head winemaker up there for all our Napa stuff. And
Okay.
he took one of our guys, Dave Middleton, who came over from Hawaii with me. He was my carpenter, electrician, plumber, everything guy. He stole him from me and made him a winemaker. He did winemaking along with Preston Fidel down here. So
Oh, wow. Very
Yeah.
cool. Now the question came up.
Damn.
he does look like Yosemite Sam. He does. He looks exactly like Yosemite Sam. We call him short legs. He gets all pissed at me, but that's okay. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, and
And he's got the handlebar. I mean,
he
yeah,
does,
he does.
and he's spunky.
The
He's
hair
really
and
spunky.
everything. Yeah.
He's a fiery dude, but he's a lot of
Awesome. So another question came up. We've already answered it, but we'll answer it again. Do you guys still make coffee?
Oh yeah. We make it and grow it.
17 acres.
So we have 17 acres in the Honanao area, which is just south of Captain Cook. We've been picking. It's a real strange year. The volcano shut off about 8 or 9 months ago.
Okay.
And as soon as it shut off, it changed our weather patterns. So
Wow.
now we are so wet. We are wet like we were 35 years ago before the volcano started. And so it's made our picking in smaller picks and more often than larger picks and spread out more. And so it's really different. But we've been picking now since July. So normally we would start where we are in August and finish in usually November.
Okay.
Now it's been starting in July and there's small incremental picking. So how long it's going to last, I'm not sure. We process the coffee there. We
Okay.
ship it here in 100-pound bags in grain, and then we roast the coffee up at our Summit location twice a week.
Gotcha. And how much are you producing every week?
Well, it varies. I mean,
Okay.
we usually pick 6 to 12,000 pounds in a 2 or 3 day pick. The rounds are really small. When normally you would pick 100 bags, which is 10,000 pounds, on one pick in one farm, and then go over and do about 10,000 on the other one. And
Okay.
it's just really unusual this year. So
I mean, why isn't it unusual? Everything else is unusual too.
everything's unusual. It's 2020. So.
Yes. No one saw it coming. So how about if we do some wine tasting?
Let's do some wine tasting.
We can do some wine tasting. So
I mean, we waited long enough without a glass in our hand.
I picked a little Santa Cruz and I picked a little Napa Valley. So the Santa Cruz, that's the one, my friend. And this is called Nonchalant. It's our 2017. This one is from Reagan Vineyards down in Corralitos.
Okay.
We always give you aloha on the back,
Yes.
We hand sign every bottle that leaves MJA, whether it's Wine Club or in a shipment, if you buy a case or you buy a bottle. Everything gets signed with a little aloha. So
It's a nice touch.
this one is one of my favorite Pinots of all time. We've been buying grapes from Reagan. I think the first grapes we got from him were around 2007, 2008.
2007.
Yeah.
I think 2007 was the first year. That was a long. That was a good Pinot. I remember that 07.
7 and 8 were really
7
good
and 8.
Pinots.
Those are
They were really good
spectacular.
Pinots. They
Do you
were.
have one in your collection?
I don't know.
Well, you've got it. You're my stockpile.
Yeah, I know. I know that.
Don't fail me now.
Has a nice nose on it too.
Oh my goodness, that's good. Tell me about this wine, son. Tell me about it. What do you got? Give me something.
Bright, fruit forward, juicy, fleshy. Maybe a little bright cherry notes.
There's some cherry in there.
Yeah,
There is.
a little cranberry finish.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, unlike other areas, people don't really realize that Santa Cruz really produces some wonderful Pinot grapes. We have really super grapes. And let's say compared to Willamette Valley up in Oregon, I mean, those are decent Pinots, but they're really thin compared to what we're used to down here. And every time I'll get somebody from Oregon or from Willamette, they'll come down and taste our Pinots and go, holy goodness, that is a hell of a Pinot. You know, I mean, this is a little bigger style, but it's so rich and full-bodied. One of my fave.
The Oregonians are always skeptical of our Pinots, but once they try it,
They usually go home with some bottles.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, that's a lot of what they make, so they got to protect that grape of theirs.
Well, you know, there's one that I'm very fond of. I own several bottles of it from Domaine Serene in that $125 to $150 a bottle category, circa 19. I've got some 2005, 2006.
I don't know, man.
You don't know?
Dude,
You now.
It has like 1,000 bottles in it.
No, it's got 1,600, but
Oh,
that's okay.
I stand
I'm a
corrected.
collector of really
stand
old wines. I have we do a birthday here. My birthday's on Valentine's Day, and I have usually about 40 or 50 wine club members, and we'll open bottles from the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s and 2000.
Wow.
We'll do about 22 to 24 bottles back there, and have food with it and all. It's quite an event.
Remember that Pinot you opened at your birthday?
Yeah.
What was it, a 1968 Pinot?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a 68.
It was a Bordeaux?
Yeah, and it was perfect.
Yeah.
We were all convinced that this thing was completely corked.
Right.
We had another one like in reserve, like, okay, this wine's going to be bad. People were winding up. We wanted something else to pour them. Amazing Pinot.
Pull the cork. When I smelled the cork, it smelled like cinnamon. I went, you know what? This wine's perfect, and it was absolutely over the top wonderful.
You should have been like,
50 years-
it doesn't really smell that good, guys. You're not going to like it. I'll just finish it myself. Don't worry.
No, you don't want any. You don't want any.
You don't want this. This is for us.
Oh, come on, it's made before the moon landing. You can't be good.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, this one's good. I mean, it has a nice nose. It's almost like a figgy jam type of nose to it. But you taste the cranberries right away. A little tartness to it. But it's good. It's really nice.
It's a good wine for a little Thanksgiving dinner. That's coming up, so. At least from what I remember of Thanksgiving dinner.
I heard it's canceled this year.
You know, some Pinots aren't really a wine that you could just sit down and drink.
Yeah.
This one is. You could just hang out with this.
And
Most Pinots.
you're doing a great job of it right now. So you're saying you can't stand up and drink it?
Talent.
I know that. You guys set it up. I can live stream.
That's true.
If you have me set it up, it's a no
That's
stream.
no one's going to see anyone.
Oh, God. Yes. Should we move on?
Should we?
I don't know. Do we have time?
What's next?
Oh, we're okay. Your time okay?
We have enough time as you guys need.
I wanted to spend some time on my cab.
He's very
Let's do
proud
it.
of this one.
This is our
I'll show you why.
2015. It is. It's called Dirty Old Man. It was named for me by my son, naturally. That was what we do is we bottle our wines and then we barrel. After we bottle, we go a few months, and then what we do is on a Thursday we take up the new wine that we had bottled and then try to taste it and name it, write the notes on it for the characteristics and everything.
Yep.
And we had done a couple of wines and we got to this one. And I have a list in my register of names that I kind of think about during the year, and I write them down. And then when I'm tasting the wine,
Yep.
I'm looking at my notes and I try to pick a name. And I got my notepad out and I'm looking.
As they would say.
What happened?
So he tried the year before is a wine that we called Promiscuous. Now, we talked him down to Promiscuous because he wanted to call it something much worse. You know, he after a couple of drinks, he said, we're going to call this one Penetration. And I said, I am not saying that to people. So I vetoed that, but he loves this penetration idea, so he tried to bring it up again. And I just sort of blurted out, you know what? Why don't you call it Dirty Old Man? And he went, yes. A little too much enthusiasm. And that's
Is that how it went?
yeah.
Do I have amnesia already?
Was I there?
So this is an Atlas Peak 2015. One of my favorite growing area is Atlas Peak, and it has been for years and years. We make wines from there every year since 14, except this year. The grapes are all tainted, so we are getting no Atlas Peak this year. My perfect prime rib wine. This is my. You got a killer place for prime rib. This is my prime rib wine. Or it is so good, just rub it on your body. Don't bother to drink it because it is that good.
The nose is incredible. I mean, you can just tell how jammy and dark and deep, and it just, I could just keep my nose in this glass. I mean, that just can only imagine how it tastes.
That is rich and good.
Rich, plummy flavors on the nose.
Oh,
So complex.
Promiscuous, which is the 14, is a better ribeye wine. It's got a little more tannin. And what it does is it kind of takes the fatty from the ribeye and kind of melts it into your mouth and makes it all work. This one is a little more delicate. It's rich. It hits you all over the because of it. So yeah, that is so yummy. Well, why don't you pour a little more for yourself?
Thank you, I will.
Don't mind if I do.
You want to take the bottle home?
Yeah.
Sure.
What's for dinner? This
I
wine.
drink a lot of wine in this place, and I always know where it's going. You know, it's only one spot.
You taught him well.
So what did you bring?
Well, so funny story. So this won best in class at the LA International Wine Tasting Competition. But unlike every other competition in which we've ever entered a wine, they refused to acknowledge the nickname because they didn't want to say
Dirty
that
Old Man.
Dirty Old Man won the competition.
The Dirty Old Man did win the
It
competition.
did, but instead it's 2015 Serene Cellars Atlas Peak Cabernet Sauvignon.
Sauvignon. Okay. So, yeah.
And that's an impressive award right there. I mean, that's congratulate you guys, because I know the amount of wineries that enter these are quite a bit, and to come out on top like that is very impressive.
Thank you. Well, I'll tell the
Isn't
story.
it? Isn't
I
it?
will tell the
Isn't
story.
it? Isn't it?
So
Isn't it?
for 9 years, he wanted me to enter competitions, and I wouldn't let him because in the coffee world, back in 2001, as Koa Coffee Plantation, we were named the best coffee in America by Forbes. That gave us a coffee club. In the next 2 years, we went to 5,000 members of our coffee club just because of that article. Well, the next year, in 2002, we won the Kona cupping contest, which is a big deal. But it's the biggest deal was big growers don't win that competition. It's usually a guy with 1 acre. He turns on beautiful coffee music and he dances around. They poop around the trees and they water, and and they lovingly pick each bean, and then they enter it in the competition and they win. For a big company to win a competition like that was a big deal. But anyway, I've always had a thing about not entering competitions. Well, last year, about mid-year, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said, we're entering our wines into competitions. And I went, okay. And so I let him, and I turned him loose. And in the last 12 months, we have 40 medals on our wine, and most of them gold. And that's all because of him. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. I thought I'd need to throw that in.
No, as you guys should. I mean,
this
you should be
year
very proud of those. You've worked hard for them.
Say again?
Well, he said you should be proud. He
I said you guys should be very proud of those. You've worked hard for them.
I have great winemakers and a great son, so I'm proud of all of them. So
I know the whole entering contest thing is not for everybody. And some people don't believe in the process and they think that it's a pay to play type of thing, or the more years you enter, the better you get. But at the same time, though, there's some, there's more behind it than that. I think people really do win awards that they deserve. And I think not enough local wineries around here get the accolades they should deserve. And I'm glad you guys are doing that, because it just goes to show there are amazing wineries around here. And I say in our backyard all the time, because in the Bay Area, it's literally our backyard. You don't have to go to Napa. You don't have to go to Sonoma. You guys are making Napa wines down here. But at the same time, though, it is great wineries and wines that are down here that we need to promote more.
well, and I also believe that because we age so long, that people taste it and they understand how much time and love and care went into those barrels. People go, they don't understand. Right now we have 800 barrels of wine behind us, and even though we're in Santa Cruz, humid, we lose 800 inches of wine every month out of 800 barrels.
Wow.
So when you're leaving the wine in there for 12-month period times 3 or 4 or 5, you've lost a heck of a lot of wine over that period of time. So, and our price point isn't such that if I was in Napa and I would double or triple my price point from here, it wouldn't hurt quite as much. But the point being is, I like making a product that is in that $200 and $300 and $400 a bottle category for a fraction of that as a wine club member here, and there people are able to get that here. So
It takes a long time.
And that's great. And people, as you know, are following you because
right
of that.
now, we have 2 wines that we offer right now that were in French oak for 6 full years. That's a long time.
Nobody does that anymore.
Well, they're smarter. They're smarter than we are.
That's true.
I haven't figured out.
Other people make money doing that.
I haven't figured out you can't make money aging a wine for 6 years in a barrel. I haven't figured that out, but I'm getting closer. I am.
It's getting good.
So let me ask you this. You mentioned that a few times. What does aging wine in a barrel between 2 years different than 6 years? What are you developing differently? Okay.
over 2 and 3 years to really put some body back into it. It's got great nose and great mouthfeel and all, but it really doesn't have any structure. The structure comes from the oak, which then gives it longevity in the bottle, and that's what I'm trying to build. So
There's a big balance behind all of that then. It's making
sometimes,
sure.
I work at opposite ends. Sometimes they're
Yeah.
too heavy, and I'm trying to lighten them up, and the other ones they're too light, and I'm trying to heavy them up. So that's the thought process.
That's part of the art and the technique, and that's where the winemaker's touch can really make a difference.
Well, and we make our wine old style French way. We use subcap devices. You'll notice all of our wines are really dark red. They're heavy. They're heavy, more purple than they are red. That's because we submerge our cap in our fermentation process. When the cap forms, instead of punching down the cap and then running your pump overs, we actually take, it looks like a big potato masher, and we actually submerge the cap 2 to 3 feet under the surface of the wine and then pump through that cap, which gives you this beautiful, rich purple color for your wines. We do that with our Pinots, our Merlots, our Cabernets. Not all of our wines, but all the wines that are on the bigger style wines. So,
Wow, that's again, I love hearing each individual winery's process because they all have their own secrets, their own ways of doing things, and it just goes to show that the outcome of the wine is based on every little detail that you guys actually put into it. So that's really cool.
if you put the time in and do it the correct way and don't skip steps, it rewards you with a good wine at the end, and that's what you're after anyway. Oh, that's what I'm after. I'm not after the quick buck. I'm after the customer that stays with me for 10 years or 15 or 20 because they appreciate what we've done with the wines. So.
Very good. And I'm sure you guys have a wine club. You can also have people check that out. I'm sure you have that online as well. So
we do. And our wine club is our...
and are you guys doing any more of your... Go ahead.
Are we
doing what?
We lost you.
Any more of your virtual tastings? Are you guys done for the season?
Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's and Valentine's Day. That's my birthday, so we got to do it on that. During the heaviest part of COVID, it was really a lot of fun to be able to do that on Wednesdays and stuff. But now it's kind of tapered off. People are out a little bit more, so we'll try to do it on special occasions.
Yep. Perfect.
I mean, the only way we could interact with our wine club anymore because we weren't allowed to pour tastings. So it was a great outlet to interact with people, to answer questions, and to share our experiences about like what the wines were like, to advise people on what to get. But now that you're able to go out and taste, I think it's
Now you can sit in our parking lot and have an asphalt experience. I mean,
we call it the courtyard.
Call it the asphalt experience.
It's all about the brand. Come on now.
Unbelievable. So.
Well, we'll wrap this up here, guys, and I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy harvest schedule. I know it's crazy right now, but again, I've learned a ton. I'm sure people on here have also learned a lot about how you guys make your wines and the history behind it all. It's really impressive. And thank you both very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate you. You guys take care.
You're very welcome. Cheers and aloha.
Aloha.